A quick video today on a rationale and what it actually is. Now, this is the first component of your assignment. This is what you'll actually be completing during our class today. So listen up really carefully. We'll run through this, and then you've got this video as a resource to use for your study and for a bit of revision when you're writing your assignment if you're interested. What is a rationale? Well, you're giving your reader, you're giving a set of reasons as to why you're conducting research. A particular subject that we'll be researching is reaction rates. So you'll be giving your reader, or you'll be setting your assignment by giving a whole load of reasons and a bit of theory and a bit of content into your particular subject of interest, which in our case is reaction rates. I like to explain a rationale as a big upside down triangle. Basically what you're doing is you're providing all of the information necessary for your reader to understand why you are doing what you are doing in your experimental investigation. If you were to present me with your results table, your method, your analysis of your results, and drawing conclusions from that, which is the basis of the rest of your assignment, it's not really enough for me to understand exactly what's going on. Imagine that your reader has no knowledge of the nervous system, and you're giving them that knowledge that they will need fundamentally to understand what you're actually investigating. I've put it in the shape of an upside down triangle because as you work through, it should be getting more and more specific to your investigation, and it leads to your research question. Underneath here is the research question that we discussed in the demonstration. So this is the teacher's research question that was demonstrated in that video for you where we were eating the lollies and measuring the change in the reaction time. So does increasing sugar in the body decrease the reaction time? Increasing sugar in the body, here we're talking about our independent variable. So that's what we're changing throughout the investigation. What are we measuring? Our dependent variable is our reaction time. We're saying here that reaction time is dependent on the amount of sugar in the body, and our research question is sort of predicting how we think that that will change. Before you can present your research question, you have to write your rationale, which justifies your research question. You're giving reasons as to why you're doing what you're doing. Funnily enough, if you go back a few lessons ago, your homework actually gives you a really good basis and structure for your rationale. The broadest topic that you should be discussing is the nervous system. Without the nervous system, we wouldn't have our reaction times. So if I copy and paste that over, I'm going to pop that in the very top of our triangle because that is the broadest topic that we will be discussing. So what is the nervous system and its purpose? If you provide full sentence answers to all of these questions, then you'll basically have written your rationale. You'll have a really nice structure to start with. More specific to the nervous system, what could you then talk about? What would be your next step? Well, the nervous system and the components of the nervous system form our reflexes. What are reflexes? Well, that's what you will discuss up next. What are reflexes? What is a reflex? You would then go on to talk about how does a reflex work? Explain using your key terms. How does a reflex work? Well, we know that it happens in the form of an arc. Here, you might like to go ahead and explain the components of that arc and explain what a reflex arc is. So see how we're getting more specific? We're leading really to a discussion of reaction times, which is the next question. What can affect reaction speeds? We're saying here what really can affect our reflexes. And if you do a little bit of digging, a bit of research, you'll find that there's a whole multitude of variables and different things that can affect reaction speeds. Can you guess what you'll be discussing in particular? You'll be discussing your independent variable, so the thing that you've chosen to change in your investigation. The research question below is what I've chosen to change in my investigation. What's my independent variable? It is sugar. So my next little dot point and my next little point would be potentially how does sugar affect reaction speeds? I'm going to say time as well. So what's the effect of sugar? How might I expect my experiment to go? I'm being really specific now to my investigation. How does sugar affect reaction speeds and time? Is there anything else that you think I should include? Let's have a little look. You also will be provided with these questions in your OneNote today. How does your variable affect the speed of a reflex? That's what we're discussing. I think that's pretty much it. If you answer those questions really nicely and really well for your rationale, you'll actually lead really nicely into the presentation of your research question. Obviously, this is my research question. Yours will look different depending on what your independent variable is that you chose to change. We all will have the same dependent variable in our investigations. We're all measuring reaction time. But there's a nice basis for your rationale. Some other points that you'd like to include in here potentially could be, what is reaction time? That's a vital part of our investigation. And then something I always like to include in a rationale as well. Where should we put reaction time? I should paste that in our triangle, shouldn't I? Move these up. How does a reflex work? Doesn't quite fit in there. I'm going to paste it above reaction speeds. I think that's a nice place for it. What is reaction time? What can affect reaction speeds? How does sugar affect reaction speeds and time? And then sometimes it's nice to include, what is the importance of this investigation? It's nice just to note at the end of your rationale, why is this actually important? Why should anyone care about this? Why should they bother reading on? That will change for each of you. I know that I've got some people in our class doing the effect of exercise on our reaction speeds, the effect of, not sugar obviously, because that's our teacher demonstration. We've got some people listening to, testing the effect of volume. As young people, and in a few years you'll be young drivers, do you think that the volume of music that you're listening to and its effect on reaction speeds would be important for you to look at? As a young driver, potentially in a few years, with your music blaring, which is what we don't want, it might be good for you to investigate the effect of volume on reaction speeds, something for you to be aware of in the future. You might find that it negatively affects your reaction speed and your reaction time. So that's really important. I will paste these notes into your OneNote for today, and I'll also include a couple of tables that will help you structure your research. But if you start off with that, you should have done your homework the other day, and if you have done, then you're halfway there to writing your rationale.